Hey, church family, this is Pastor Joe, and I want to congratulate you on not only finishing up the first 5 months of our Read the Book project, but on surviving the book of Leviticus. We're on the midst of a 2-year journey through the Bible, and we now come to the book of Numbers, which, very similar to Leviticus, can seem almost dry, can seem almost unappealing because it's made up of all these disparate parts. It's got narrative sections, it's got law sections, it's got census both in the front and in the back of the book. It's got these weird oracles from a foreign prophet. And so, how do we read this book and make any sense of it? How do we tell what God wants us to find in it? Well, first, I want you to remember that this is the wilderness book of the Old Testament. This is the book that chronicles Israel's journey from Sinai to the Promised Land. It chronicles their rebellion, their refusal to enter the Promised Land. And then it chronicles their wandering throughout the desert as a result of their sin. And so in the midst of each of these sections, there are a few things that I think will help us to make sense of and to kind of focus us as we read this wilderness book. First, the force behind all of it is the same force that was behind Genesis and Exodus and Leviticus, and it's God's promise to Abraham that his descendants would inherit and take possession of the land of Canaan. That's what glues all of these parts of the book of Numbers together. That's what this story is about, the fulfillment of God's promise with God's people. Second, I want you to notice the centrality, the importance of the tabernacle. Especially in chapters 1 and 2, you're going to notice that the tabernacle is at the center of the camp. It's at the center of their march. It's the very center of everything that they do, and it reminds us and it speaks to the importance of God's presence with his people. And it speaks to the importance of right worship in the midst of God's people. Finally, I want you to look at the people themselves in the book of Numbers. You see, apart from the Aaronic blessing in chapter 6, the people of Israel don't really come out of this book in a good light at all. What we see is we see them complaining a lot. We see them rebelling a lot. We see them sinning a lot. And what we see is that even in the midst of God bringing his people into his promise, even after God speaks to the importance of his presence in their midst and right worship in their midst, that they're still unable to hold up their end of the bargain. They're still unable to follow him the way that they should. And this is going to already begin to set up for us this idea that we cannot follow God out of our own volition. Already here in the Old Testament, God is giving us the picture and he's giving us the history of why salvation is going to be necessary in Jesus later on. So I hope that you enjoy the book of Numbers. I hope that you're still continuing this 2-year journey with us through the scriptures. And if you want to know more, or if you want to jump on and do this journey with us, all you have to do is go to www.starkvillecommunitychurch.org/read the book. Thank you so much, church family. Keep reading, and I'll see you Sunday.